Come on, Ben, snap out of it. Don't let the biased media and the disrespect get to you. You are a believer. You're better than this. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I am furious. The Denver Broncos and the disrespect just hit a whole new level. In this video, we're going to break down what it is, why it actually matters, and then to make us feel better, we're going to look at some bad news that we're hearing about other teams that we are competing for a playoff position for. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me and the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos, if you would like and subscribe. So diving right in here, each and every year, it's the only video game I really even buy. It is Madden. It's the most popular franchise when it comes to like sports video games in the entire world, in the history of the world. It's Madden. Like, it is the only video game that I like, and I know people are going to just like write this off right away. I'm going to tell you why it matters here in a second, but the Denver Broncos are the fourth worst team in the NFL according to EA Sports and Madden. And why that is like so maddening is that it is a big deal. Like, what new kid who's like deciding what team am I going to root for? If you live in a place like Nebraska that doesn't have a football team, who is going to play with the Denver Broncos when they're the fourth worst team ranked in this video game? Like, I think of, I want my son to be as diehard about the Denver Broncos as I am. And is he going to be pumped up playing with a team where your players are downranked because they're Denver Broncos? I think that's wild. You look at just like that disrespect. I am hoping that the Broncos use that as fuel for next year. But I know Madden rankings actually matter to the NFL players. They talk about it all the time. I've heard a ton of interviews with players where they're talking about the first thing they look at is, what is my Madden ranking? And the fact that these guys actually have an analytics department and dive into it and try to have accurate rankings, this is just criminal and ridiculous that you put the Denver Broncos down here and you put the Raiders as 81 when the Broncos are a 79, and then you have the team that we essentially beat twice last year. One of the times was a mollywhopping, and the other time they blocked a field goal, and you put them as the best team in football. You put a team that didn't even make the playoffs tied with them. Like, it is ridiculous. You put the Dolphins that far above the Denver Broncos. It is maddening. I do think it matters, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous because the Denver Broncos last year had a top 3 defense in the entire NFL, and they just got better at every single position. They were weak last year. They also had one of the better offensive lines in football. The fact of the matter is, like, our weakest position on our offensive line was our center. We didn't know who it was going to be going into next year. Last year, we lost Cushenberry to the Tennessee Titans, and we're like, who's going to be our center? And this cat out of nowhere, Luke Wattenberg, steps up, and he was a second best center in all of football. So I think we have one of the best offensive lines in football. We do have a top 3 defense in football. We have the defensive player in the year in Pat Surtain. Oh, and what else do we have? We have the best running back in the entire AFC West last year, who's gunning for the Broncos, like doing some really, really special things. J.K. Dobbins last week at OTAs was saying, hey, I'm not excited about just beating the Chargers next year. I'm going to go out and win a ring. So you have a playoff team last year that just got better at every single position, has a rookie quarterback who is just going to just go leaps and bounds walking into year 2, and you have the audacity to say that they're the 4th worst team in football. It makes me really, really upset. I'm going to try to get past it, and I might not buy the video game, or I'll do what I do and I'll like buy it and just upgrade all of our players, because that makes me absolutely furious. And I wouldn't have made this video and said like, oh, we deserve to be better if this was 4 years ago or 3 years ago when we did have a bad team. But it makes me mad, the disrespect here. And it's like, you wonder, why does no one know who Bo Nix is? It's because like we don't get the coverage. We're like fly-by country sometimes as Denver Broncos fans, and that makes me really, really upset. Now, other thing, like why that's wrong, it's like, yes, you have the best corner in football, and then I think our second corner, Riley Moss, is posed to have a huge breakout year next year. We heard Sean Payton kind of laying some breadcrumbs for us on that and talking about, they were kind of asking him like, hey, when you drafted Jahdae Barron, was that because you don't believe in Riley Moss, or what do you think about Riley Moss? And he came out and just said, hey, I'm actually really, really happy with what Riley Moss did last year. That at this level, it is now about like, is he making the right reads and able to defend the right coverages? And kind of talked about that he's having an incredible offseason, and that is building on what I thought was a really good year when he was healthy. Like, will you ever forget this sick pick that he had against the Vegas Raiders? So I think our defense was phenomenal. The Broncos should not be ranked that low. Other reason we shouldn't be ranked that low is like the league, people who actually know, guys like Bill Barnwell are talking about how we have some of the best gadget players in the entire NFL. He wrote an incredible piece here where he talked up Marvin Mims and just said, man, if the Broncos start next year using Marvin Mims like they ended the year with him, watch out. And I think that's exactly Sean Payton's plan. He talked about that at OTAs, that like, even talked about it towards the end of last season. Like, man, I wish we'd figured this out or started working him in this way towards that entire season. So one of the things I loved was from week 11 onward last season. Remember, we didn't have a cakewalk schedule there. Like, we played some tough games there. The best we saw him was in basically a playoff game there with the Cincinnati Bengals. And from week 11 onward, 4.5 yards per route, the best mark in the league for any player who ran 80 routes or more. So we saw him absolutely hit his stride when he was used the right way, and that is what Sean Payton is intending to do from the jump. So we saw some really innovative things. Seeing him, I think this is the play where you get to see, this is Troy Franklin. Cool. Oh, no, this is him. Like, seeing him in this play, this was that one blowout against the Kansas City Chiefs when, yes, they did have a couple backups in, but they had a lot of their starting defense out when this happened. So we were really unlocked, like, hey, could we use him in the slot? Can we use him in the backfield? We don't need him running the exact same routes as Courtland Sutton to be successful. And who will ever forget, like, probably the most hyped I've been all last season was this incredible play on a 4th down as the game was ending for Sean Payton to throw it up and have Marvin Mims go and get it. So the Denver Broncos are way, way better than the NFL gives them credit for. But y'all, we here have been here since the jump, and it's going to be very fun to have our flag planted on, the playoff team last year that was the second youngest team in football that just got better all offseason is going to turn some heads and make some doubters into believers next season for sure. So one of the teams that was ranked much higher than us, and their defense is ranked higher than us in the video game and on a lot of websites, is the Vegas Raiders. They have put a tremendous amount of money behind Christian Wilkins. And I will also say that both Zach Allen and John Franklin Meyer had better seasons when healthy than a healthy Christian Wilkins. And then Christian Wilkins sacked Bo Nix, did a celebration dance, and hurt himself. Was out the rest of last season, and now reports are that he needs another surgery and is probably going to miss this entire season as well, which means that the Raiders basically just have Max Crosby that you got to deal with, and then the rest of that defensive line does not scare you. They lost their linebacker Spillane to the Patriots, so that's a great thing. They lost several members of that secondary as well. So that Raiders defense is going to be incredibly easy to carve up and score on, which we did last year and had started to do before Christian Wilkins even got healthy or got hurt. So I think while I never want to celebrate another a rival going down, we do know that the Raiders were celebrating when they broke Bo Nix's back, or when Riley Moss got hurt. They put out some mean things on Twitter, but I'm not celebrating that he's hurt. But it is good news for the Broncos that we probably will be playing the Raiders without their best interior defensive lineman. Also getting good news that, like, while Bo Nix is staying in Denver, he's throwing with his receivers. He's going to do a little Bo Nix passing retreat type thing with the receivers during this little period between OTAs and training camp. And we know he is a film junkie, and in his backpack, when Sean Payton met him to interview him to see if he was a good fit, all he had in his backpack was a ball to roll out his IT band and a playbook. Like, that is all he cares about is football. And we're seeing here that the Broncos got to play the Indianapolis Colts this year. The Colts were vying for us for playoff positioning last year. And while Bo Nix is studying, you got Anthony Richardson out there releasing a rap album. And the beats are decent for it, but I just love the fact that we have a quarterback who is all focused on football and focused on the right things. You add that in with, like, man, the other team we're going to be battling with and have to play this year, the Cincinnati Bengals. And we know not only have they still not signed Trey Hendrickson, their best defensive player, they still have a holdout with their first-round draft pick. And everyone around the league is just baffled by this and saying, like, how is this even a possibility that he might skip this entire year and go back in the NFL draft next year? So the Denver Broncos have gotten nothing but great news this offseason. And so I'm going to try to have that, like, water off of a duck's back, shake it off. Can't say shake it off. That's a Taylor Swift song, but I'm just going to get past it. They go low, we go high, because we're Broncos fans and we got so much to believe in.